My neighbor peered into my house with a gun after I just went inside, so I called the cops, but they aren't being of any use, so how can I take things into my own hands and deal with this wackjob living next to me? A few weeks ago, a new neighbor moved in across the street. To my knowledge, it's one guy who is about 40 to 50 years old. For the past few weeks since he moved in, he has been taking walks around the neighborhood, and every once in a while when he passes my house, my living room has a window that can see into the front yard, he stands and watches me. When I go outside to investigate, he just says something to the tune of admiring my shingle work or stargazing. He has used these excuses before. He never comes directly onto my property when he does this. A few days ago I came home, and when I went to pull the trash cans back from the street, my neighbor is sitting on his front porch with a rifle in his lap in plain view. I ask him if there is anything wrong and he just nods at me. I went back into my house and called the police. Now the spot I called the police from was in my kitchen. The only way to look into my kitchen from a window is if you walked up to my living room window and peered to the left. After hanging up the phone, I turned towards the living room and saw my neighbor about 2 feet away from my window peering in with a rifle. I run into my room and lock the door. After the police arrive, I tell them what happened, and they told me that since he wasn't pointing a gun at me, that it wasn't a threat. The most they can do is trespass him, but by the time they arrived, he left his house. Yesterday I came home at around 10 p.m. and found a dead fish in my mailbox. Without any evidence, how can I stop my neighbor from harassing me? Can I get a restraining order against him? Update 1. Since then I got cameras with night vision, motion detection alerts, window tint for my living room, and big thick curtains. I also got a few of those stickers for the area of my house that says insured by Glock to deter any intruders. Now the first night I got my cameras, I checked them the morning after to see how they worked. I made sure that there are no blind spots and all of them are fixed with no movement at all. When I checked the cameras the morning before, someone walked up to them wearing all black including a mask and pointed them down. When I left for work that morning, someone spray painted a knife on my mailbox. I filed a report with the postal inspector and called the police. The police said without any video evidence, there wasn't much I could do. That night, I woke up to a loud noise hitting my house every so often. I checked the cameras and couldn't see anything, so I went out and investigated and noticed small holes on my house. Looking around the ground, I see discharged rounds. I called the police again and confirmed that it was .22 shots shot from far away. I have a concrete home, so that would explain the lack of penetration. The police offer to have a car patrol the neighborhood and sit outside for 3 days, and nothing happens. I asked them if I could get a protective order from my neighbor who has a history of being hostile, and they said since I had no direct evidence implicating him, that I can't file it out of nowhere despite previous confrontations. I filed another report with a different officer and got the same spiel. I asked for them to take fingerprints of the bullets then, and they chuckled and put the bullets in a bag and left. 3 days ago, I heard shots again and checked the cameras and noticed they were facing my neighbor's house just where I put them, and I see a silhouette shooting from the middle of my street before stopping and running to the back of my neighbor's house. After that I call the police in my room while watching the cameras. The police come and do walk me through the same BS as last time, even after I showed them the cameras. They knocked on my neighbor's door and he claimed he heard and saw nothing. After they left I asked him if he was telling the truth and he looked at me and smiled. It was very unnerving. I don't know what to do at this point. Update 2. This similar behavior is something I suffered over the course of 1 to 2 months in Florida. I made posts and legal advice asking for help and got reasonably good answers. Unfortunately, my neighbor pushed it too far and tried to break in my house in the middle of the night after a series of weird escalating behavior. As a result, I shot him multiple times. I was questioned and interviewed over 7 hours and then released due to Florida's stand your ground laws. Turned out neighbor was mentally ill and the family is currently trying to sue me for wrongful death. I should have just moved.